From the alley-oops at Keysar to the glory days at the stick. From who's got it better than us to brick by brick. It's always the 49ers way. From off-season to game day. Yeah, we talk back. It's the 49ers Cutback.
It's 49ers Cutback Podcast time, and we have a great conversation to have today because we're going to talk about what this 49ers run game is going to look like in 2021 because there has been some changes that may give us a glimpse of what Kyle Shanahan and Mike McDaniel are looking to do this season, and I'm excited to talk about it.
No, very excited to talk about it, and you all should be excited to talk about it, hear about it, all that fun stuff, because as we all know as 49ers fans, especially under Kyle Shanahan, there is nothing that is more important than this run game. So hit that subscribe button right now if you haven't already. Smash that like button and share it right now with the faithful so they can join in on this conversation. They don't want to miss any of this because this run game is vital to the success of the Kyle Shanahan offense. It always has been, no matter where he's been in the league.
It's very true. And in 2019, you got a full dose of that. The outside zone was kind of being hit at a whole all-time level, especially when they got into the playoffs and Mostert just went off. But even early on, you saw Matt Breida, and those guys having success. Tevin Coleman consistently having, 5-6 yard gains, tearing up Carolina that year. So you really got to see the outside zone going. And then last year, it really had some struggles in getting going because Mostert was hurt. And then you just didn't really have the speed to get to the outside. Wilson did a good job, but you could see that there was something there. Defenses were changing the way that they were playing it. And so it was time for them to adjust. But I think first off, the thing that they still got to get going is the outside zone because it opens up everything. You have these mobile tackles that can move. Trent Williams, Mike McGlinchey, they really are very good at this. You added Alex Max, another guy that can get to the second level. So you have a good offensive line to be able to execute, but they need to get it going. They need to be able to get Raheem Mostert on the edge because it'll open up play action. So it's so big to get this going early on in the season.
100%. And the outside zone opens up so many other aspects and avenues of this offense. The misdirection runs, the fly sweeps going opposite direction of where you're showing potentially an outside zone look. Play action, obviously coming up over the top of that. The little slip routes that they have, these guys run, whether it's use check going in motion to the right, play action and outside zone stretch to the right, and then he slips back left. Vice versa. Doesn't really matter what it is. The reverses also that they run with the Emmanuel, well, not with Emmanuel Sanders, but with the Brandon Ayuks of the world now, right, and the Deebo Samuels. Those types of things all open up when you're forcing a defense to have to cover sideline to sideline with that outside zone. So this run game is always going to focus on establishing that, right? The horizontal offense. It's extremely important in the system. But they made some moves.
They did.
They started making some changes. They went a little uncharacteristic this year in the draft and went big interior offensive linemen and guys that kind of transition. I know Jalen Moore was a tackle in college, but the idea is that he can potentially transition inside if you need him to also. And if you're getting bigger on the inside, does that mean there's going to be more of an emphasis on the inside zone or at least the inside run game in San Francisco now?
Yes, there is. The fact that they have been getting different defensive looks, we talked about this with Tyler before, the 5-1-5. So you're going to get a different look. They're bringing guys up on the outside, cutting off the edge and making it so the outside zone can't be successful. So what do? You make them have to worry about you going vertical as well. You load up with big-time guards on the inside, guys that can move people off their spots and play more physical. Bully ball has arrived in San Francisco. You couple that with the running backs that they drafted, especially Trey Sermon, who has great vision, and a lot of people look at him in the way that he runs and his running style, and they see the quick jump cuts and the one step and go, and it reminds you of kind of a Frank Gore's inside running style. I'm not going to put that on him that he's Frank Gore or anything like that. I'm just saying the style of running back that he is. His vision is very good. He goes through little tight windows and tight holes, so he's going to be very good for this run game. You couple that with Mostert now, and so you got the outside zone and the inside with what Trey Sermon can do. They can do a lot of different things. Now you can add in the cool plays like you're talking about. You throw in some of these reverses and stuff to get the window dressing going, getting people's eyes, having to cover the entire field and pan. And then now you have to worry about these guys, going straight at you. It really does change the run game. Being able to do both Mostert can run inside as well. I don't want to say that he can't. Elijah Mitchell can do both. So they really do have talent. And Wayne Gallman can't be forgotten because he can do all the inside stuff as well. Him and Trey Sermon are going to gash people up the gut. So it'll be curious how quick Aaron Banks gets in there and how quick they change this offense from not just outside zone, but also this inside vertical run game as well.
And let's not forget during that playoff run, right? Mostert was breaking a lot of big, huge, gigantic runs on those outside zones and sweeps and things like that around the edge. But those opened up because of the big gashing 10, 12-yard, 15-yard runs that he was having up the gut, right up the seam, where they're open up a big fat hole. He'd get up to second level, make one cut with no linebacker touching him, and all of a sudden he's up to third level, right? And the safeties are having to drag him down 12, 15 yards downfield. When you're that effective running downhill and running that quickly to second, third level, teams then have to start loading the box, being creative with run blitzes, sending guys up A gaps and B gaps, and now you just have to secure that outside edge, right? Secure that C gap, make sure no one blows up that outside stretch zone or whether it's a toss. And you're not going to have those linebackers necessarily flowing as much to stretch the play to the sideline or catch a guy when he gets to the sideline because they're having to be creative with their run blitzes. They're having to be more aggressive shooting those A and those B gaps because they don't want those 12, 15-yard gash runs up the middle. They want to stop those for 2 to 3 yards or in the backfield for tackles for loss. So this inside zone game right now for the 49ers, it was important in 2019. It just wasn't as noticeable, right? Because you had the big plays on the outside. Yeah. I think they're making the switch, though, now. This is going to become maybe not the thing they go to right away, but at some point early in games, first quarter, second drive maybe, wanting to establish that inside run game, be able to pound that ball for 4 or 5 yards. Because someone who is a very much a big fan of the run game, Mr. Anthony over there.
Yeah.
You know it, and you were the one who kind of showed me this when I came into the coaching ranks at first because I wanted to air the ball out a lot, throw the ball 30, 40 times a game, and it's like, that's great and good and all, but sometimes you just can't do that. And what's wrong with 3 to 4 yards in a cloud of dust 4 times for a first down every drive? If you're getting 3 yards every time you touch the ball, every time you hand it off, you're going to just continue moving the chains. And if you continue to move the chains, eventually a defensive coordinator is going to slip and do something he shouldn't, and then you can capitalize.
Yes, exactly. And what you're going to do is you're going to get favorable matchups. Because as you move the ball, it wears on a defense. The defense just gets frustrated. I mean, that's one of the most whole shot, plays, big plays, they're frustrating for a minute, but somebody just wears you down with a run game, it gets at you. And then a defensive coordinator is going to overcorrect. First off, he's going to bring a safety into the box. So you're going to have favorable matchups on the outside for your receivers. So those are things that's going to happen. I think it's going to be balanced. I think they're going to try to use the outside and inside zone together to really balance the offense and really make it hard for defense to figure out what they're going to do. Because if you do that, I think they're going to make these teams go into more base sets. And if you have defenses playing base all the time, then you have matchups you can take advantage of in the run game. And if they load up, in the pass game, if they load up and they're trying to stop your run, you're going to hit the pass. And if they're trying to sit in the nickel, you can just run these guys to death. If you want to sit in that nickel look and let Trey Sermon and let Gallman run you and gash you up the middle, have fun with that. That's what's going to happen. And that's what's going to be fun to watch too, because there's other options besides the guys we've even talked about. We haven't even talked about Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk and what they're going to bring to this run game, and Jalen Hurd, what he's going to bring to this run game. Jalen Hurd is going to be a big-time player because, just like I talked about, you're sitting in a base set, have fun with that because Jalen's a matchup problem on the outside. You're sitting in nickel, or dime, and now here comes Jalen to the backfield and he's running the ball. And the vertical game suits what he does very well. Yes, he can run the outside zone, but he can run on the inside as well. So they are just putting people in bad positions where they have to prepare for everything. Think about, we've talked about the inside zone. We've talked about the outside zone. We've talked about the play action pass. Now you have to stay home on a reverse. You have to stay home in case they run a fly sweep. You have to pay attention to everyone that's going in motion. What they're doing is giving you now a full spectrum of run plays. They can now run any single run play they want to run and be successful at it. And you have to prepare as a defense for it. And you have to try to figure out when they're going to do that. That is the problem with what Kyle Shanahan and Mike McDaniel are going to do. You wait until they institute some of the wham blocking and some of this stuff as well that they're going to use. They have Kittle and Juszczyk that can do it to a high level. and they're going to make it hard. Aaron Donald's going to think he's getting straight through, and he's just going to get blown up from the side because he's not going to know. And Ndamukong Suh felt this against Harbaugh, and I'm telling you, this is coming. This is what I see this offense doing. Some of the vision of what's going to happen, but I'm really excited about the full aspect of the run game being realized in 2021.
Oh, 100%. Because let's not forget, you said they could do everything, right? They can now address pretty much every aspect of the run game that they want to address. Let's also not forget that you can bring Trey Lance on the field anytime you want and start running read option.
Yep.
Whenever you want. And so now, as a team, if the Niners are gashing you with run play, gashing you with run plays, gashing you with run plays, gashing you with run plays, and you start to get it dialed in and figured out a little bit, they can tell Jimmy, hey, listen, we need to make sure the run game stays stabilized. Why don't you come off the field for a drive?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Trey, let's just go out there and let's just start going through some read options and some RPOs. Let's do that. Because if they start matching up, manning up in the box and trying to play 11-on-11 football, and Tyler Menting talked about this during our conversation, right? If teams start to do that with Kyle Shanahan, you now have a weapon in Trey Lance that you can utilize to fully capitalize and take advantage of 11-on-11 football. You're going to try and stick a safety one-on-one with Trey Lance? Have fun. Have fun with that, right? You want to stick a linebackers one-on-one with George Kittle? Have a good time trying to accomplish that and get that done. Triple option could very well be a thing that they do with a guy like Trey Lance. Bring in a guy like Deebo Samuel in motion, shovel options, things like that. The offense is opened up entirely 100%. And you know how I am about the spread and options just in general. Every time I watch it, when it's executed correctly, it's so beautiful to watch because it's one-on-one football everywhere across the board. And if you have 10 guys who win their matchup and one guy doesn't, it can spell problems for you. But when all 11 guys execute and all 11 guys win, it's so beautiful to watch because it's a big play. It's executed to perfection, and your coach looks like a genius.
Yeah, and these outside linebackers and defensive ends like to crash on the 49ers outside zone. They like to come down. If Trey Lance is in, they have to hold their position. Because if they don't, he runs around the outside, and there you go, it's a first down. So it changes the way the 49ers also attack 3rd and 4, 3rd and 3, and in the red zone, which I think is another aspect where the 49ers run game is going to be huge this year, is now the 49ers can go in there and absolutely just run it down your throat as soon as they get into the red zone. There is no need for them to have to throw the ball. So people that, looked at 2019 playoffs and were upset at Jimmy Garoppolo, get ready, because this might be some of the same stuff you see where Jimmy doesn't throw a lot of balls in the red zone. Depending on what team they're playing, what matchups they have, and what defense they're in is going to dictate what kind of way these guys attack. And I think that a lot of it is going to be dictated to the defense. I don't think the defense is going to have much choice with some of these matchups and some of these formations.
The packages, right? If you're putting the personnel that we think they're going to put on the field, in which you go 5 wideouts and no running backs, you're not coming out in a goal line situation. You're not coming out in your goal line package.
Yeah.
Your goal line package is nowhere near coming out in that situation. You're going to have to make a choice, though, as a defensive coordinator. Early on in the season, the choice is simple, right? They're going to go to their dime. They're going to go to their nickel. They're going to come out in a pass-heavy set and just roll with it, and the Niners are going to eat them for lunch because you'll bring a guy like Jalen Hurd into the backfield, motion Kittle in as a fullback, motion him back, put your other 3 wide receivers on the line, and now you have a power run game. And big yikes, right? Big yikes for the opponents. But they're going to do that early on in the season. And then teams are going to have to, as you get later and later into the year, what is actually your best option here? Is it to go with your dime or nickel package, or do you come out in your base and just pray to God that you can hold on long enough to not let a receiver get open in space? I'm
thinking that they're gonna try to load up. It's gonna be the base set. They're gonna try to creep the safety in and make Jimmy Garoppolo beat him. That is what they're gonna go to, and they're gonna be in some trouble because number one, the running game can still beat that. Number two, the horizontal offense is real, and Jimmy can get the ball out quick. If Jimmy gets the ball out quick to Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk in one-on-one situations, they can house call it. He can hit the quick screens, which is another aspect of the run game, per se, that they can take advantage of. It's all bad for them because you bring him in the box, you still are spread horizontally because you have to worry about them running the fly sweeps, the jet motions, and the outside zone. You just have to worry about it all. If you have to worry about it all, you can't focus in on one thing. So I think early on, they tried to make the 49ers a one-dimensional team and make them throw the ball. I think by about 2 or 3 games in, all bets are off and every team is scared out of their minds. Green Bay especially is going to be scared that the 49ers are just going to run over them. So That is going to be hard for them to stop because there's just so many options with the run game. And we can't forget, Sermon's a good pass catcher, and Elijah Mitchell's a great pass catcher.
That's true.
So if you have these guys out there and you line them up out wide, it's a mismatch, especially if you catch these guys in a 3rd and 3 and they think you're running the ball. All of a sudden you put them out there. Now they're in a favorable matchup against a linebacker or safety.
Or and that's the thing, right? Is you don't know how these teams are going to set up their defenses too on those 3rd and shorts.
Yep.
You might have a situation where you motion a guy like Trey Sermon out of the backfield out wide, thinking he's going to get a linebacker or safety, and the corner covers.
Yeah.
And they're in a zone look, and that corner's not. And now you got George Kittle one-on-one with the safety,
yep.
or you got Brandon Ayuk one-on-one with a linebacker, and it's just like, okay,
yep,
we'll take those all day, every day of the week.
100%. There's absolutely, I guess, no personnel grouping that is not dangerous.
That's
Everything the 49ers have is scary for everyone else because of the weapons. Too many weapons, too many things they can do in the run game. I mean, just when you think you've got it figured out, Kyle Juszczyk runs up the middle for a touchdown. I mean, that's just what it is. You're going to forget about Juice, and you're not going to be ready for this run game. This run game is ridiculous. The running backs they have, the receivers, that what they can do in the run game, and then the addition of Trey Lance, like you brought up, is scary for everyone else. Good luck.
For 49ers fans and for the 49ers coaching staff, this roster, absolutely incredible. For opponents, a nightmare, and if you're a fantasy football owner, it's a headache. It is 100% a headache because who's going to be the guy in any given week? You have no freaking idea, and as a 49ers fan, I love that.
You know who doesn't have any idea either? CBS.
No
clue.
They have no clue.
Nah, they don't get it.
This roster is 16. I still can't believe they said that.
Yeah, it's, you know what it is too, though, is people don't appreciate the run game enough. It's not sexy. I remember as a young coach, I wanted to run spread, and then I really got into it and really looked at it, and it was like, you know what? The run game is so much more sexy. I appreciate the pass as much as anyone else. But just moving someone off their spot against their will is kind of my offensive line mentality. And when when you can do that, there's nothing funner. I mean, look at what Shanahan did in the Super Bowls with Mike Shanahan with Denver. He had John Elway, but Terrell Davis was the one that was
stole the shows,
still in the show. And think about it, he wanted to run a play action. Terrell Davis couldn't see; he had a migraine. He goes in there and everyone buys it because it's Terrell Davis. That is what you're going to get from Kyle Shanahan. He's going to have these guys eaten out of the palm of his hand. It's going to be scary for everyone else. I can't wait for it because I love run game, and I know what it's going to turn into. It's going to turn into an all-out arsenal of 49ers dominance, and that's what I'm here to see.
We're all here for it. We're all here for that 49ers dominance. And Kyle Shanahan said it best. He's only got one thing on his mind right now, and that's a Super Bowl. Kyle, the faithful is with you, and the Cutback crew is with you. That's on all of our minds. Super Bowl. Let us know what you think about this run game down below in the comment section right now. What do you think it's going to look like? Do you agree with our takes? It's going to be diverse, expansive. They're going to add a lot of new things into it. They have the pieces now to be able to do it. Or do you disagree entirely? Jimmy Garoppolo has to throw the ball 70 times a game in order for this team to win. We want to hear from you down below right now. And while you're down there, don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe. If you haven't already, hit that notification bell. Go check out the merch shop. Link in the description down below. Cop yourself some nice 49ers Cutback gear. Rep the Cutback crew. And some cool 49ers inspired stuff as well.
Yeah, there is. There's some great stuff over there. Go check it out. 70 times a game, huh? I
mean, there's someone out there who probably thinks that.
If they do, I definitely want them to comment because that is very interesting. But yes, this is going to be fun. I am curious what everyone thinks about this run game. I think that a lot of people are going to agree as far as the expansion of what they're going to be able to do. The whole thing is going to be realized, and it's going to be dangerous for everyone else. I can't wait until we play Seattle. I just want to run them over. It's like, okay,
bring it, boys.
Okay, Bobby, you're on your own this time. Jamal Adams, you're a great defensive end, but we're going to get you.
That's true. True. Have fun. Have fun trying to cover. Have fun. Just being a DN when you're supposed to be a safety.
Getting blocked by Kittle.
It's a good time. It's a good time for all of us anyway. Man, it's going to be exciting times. Season can't get here soon enough. But until next time, 49ers fan and the Cutback crew, you stay safe.
Remember, the right way is always the 49ers way.